Let's take a look at how to create a privacy policy and terms of service for your website. Now, I do want to say up front, I am not an attorney. I am not giving you any legal advice in this video. So don't take it as legal advice. I will say, as someone who has created lots of websites for both myself and for clients, you probably need a privacy policy at the very least for your website, and you might need a terms of service. The privacy policy is actually required by law in some areas. So in some US states and in some countries, the privacy policy is required. Not having one, you could get fined. So you absolutely want to make sure that you've got that privacy policy. The privacy policy tells your users what kind of information you're collecting from them and what you're doing with that information, how long you're storing that information, etc. The terms of service is really more about protecting your business. It's going to have information about your refund policy and things like that. So you really want to have both of them. And you have a few options as far as how to create and then implement those policies on your website. One option is going to be to work with an attorney. And an attorney can create a custom policy or policies for your website that is going to be very specific to your business. Just make sure if you do that, that the attorney that you work with is an expert in the privacy policies and the terms of service. It's very important that they thoroughly understand the laws. There are a lot of laws all over the world, and they can be very complicated. So make sure that they understand those inside out, upside down, forwards and backwards, and everything. Another option that you have is to use a service like Termageddon. And this is what I personally use. I will mention I am an affiliate for Termageddon, so keep that in mind as I say this, but I would make this video and recommend them even if I wasn't an affiliate, because I do use them. I use them for all of my websites that I build, and my maintenance plan clients, they all use Termageddon policies on their websites. It's actually part of our maintenance plan because I think it's so important to have that. With Termageddon, they automatically update the policies. So we can see here, they automatically update the policies as the laws change. And it's really simple. You sign up for an account with Termageddon, and you can see that their pricing right now is just $12 a month. Or if you get it for the whole year, it's $119 per year. You sign up for your account, and then you go through and you answer some questions on some forums to create your policies. I'm not going to walk you through actually creating an account. I will walk you through a little bit of creating the policies. When you create your account with Termageddon, you will get a license or licenses for using their service. And so you can see here, I've got my license information. This is information that's used on all of the policies on your website. What you can see here is the license for a website or an application. It's for a website. And then the year. So highwaysandhops.com. And then who owns it, the person or a company. For this one, we're going to say person. So we're going to say Chrissy Ray. And where would you like to resolve dispute? This is up to you, but I'm based in the US, so I'm going to say United States. And specifically, I am in Maryland. And I'm in Anne Arundel County. And then it asks what email you want users to contact you. And then we're going to click on save. And that saves my license information. And now you'll see that I have the ability to add a policy. If I click on add policy, it's going to give me the option to choose privacy policy, terms of service, and user license agreement. That's what the EULA stands for, and disclaimer. In this video, we're just going to cover the first two, privacy policy and terms of service. If I click on privacy policy, that's going to give me a form where I am going to fill out all this information. So I'm not going to spend the time to go through and fill all this out while you're watching, because you can fill it out yourself. They do have help for every question. So you can click on the little question mark and it'll give you some help related to that. They've got videos to help you with it. And you can even set up a call with them to get them to walk you through setting up the privacy policy and the terms of service. So I'm not going to walk you through every single possible option that you've got here, but you will answer questions like, where do you do business? If I select all, you can see this is going to put all the US states. Do you collect personal information? If I click on select all. Now, some of the questions that come up after this are going to depend on what I answered in here. So a lot of the questions are going to have some logic behind them. So if I answered, for example, California here, then I'm going to get some questions about the business that I am doing in California. If I answered Virginia in the states that I do business, I'll get some additional questions about Virginia. So it's going to ask questions specific to those states. And if I choose certain countries, it's going to ask questions about those countries. But you do need to go through and fill these out to the best of your ability. So you can see there's lots of questions that you've got here. Now, I'm not going to fill this out. I'm just going to click on next so you can see. The other thing that it asks for is what types of information you are collecting. So if you've got forms on your website, so if you've got like a contact form, you're collecting information. If you've got a newsletter sign up form, you're collecting information. If you have analytics on your website of some sort, you're collecting personal information. If you've got e-commerce, there's any number of ways that you're going to collect information. You can see here, they do have step-by-step video instructions that will walk you through all of this. Just make sure you identify all of the information that you are going to be collecting. Once you fill all that out, you'll go on to the next step, which is going to be about cookies. And there, it's going to ask if you collect and use cookies. And depending on some of your answers to other questions, after you fill this out, you might be prompted to also create a cookie policy and a cookie consent tool. But I'm going to do that in another video. So I'm just going to skip through this, click next. And again, it asks if you use Google Analytics. Next. And then do you have links to third-party websites? Or there's lots more information. So you're going to fill all this out and then hit submit. And then when you're done, you can see here it says policy incomplete because I didn't answer anything. But when you're done, assuming that you have answered everything, you're going to be on this View Embed Code tab. So I'll scroll down here. It's going to be a little while. I'm just going to select this and copy it. Now, all you need to do is take that code and put it into your website. If I'm doing a WordPress site, I can go to my dashboard. I'm going to add a new page. And the page is going to be privacy policy. And then I'm not going to paste it directly because it's HTML. So if I just pasted it, it would just look like a bunch of code. I don't want that. I need to add a custom HTML block and then paste it in there like that. And then for now, I'm not going to publish it, but I am going to preview it so we can see it. And let's see what we get. And here's my privacy policy. So it's going to give me sort of the default privacy policy. It doesn't have all of the stuff about what I'm doing with the information that I collect, but you can see that it gives me all of these sections here. It's not as filled out as it should be because I didn't fill out all of the answers to all of the questions. So I need to go back and do that. So that's my privacy policy. Now with Termageddon, you can also create a terms of service or terms and conditions or whatever you want to call it. So I'll go back to policies and then I'm going to add a policy and it's going to be terms of service. And again, you're going to fill out the forms. Can users purchase goods, services, or digital products? You might want to answer yes, fill out the information there and go through and fill it out. And you can see these are all going to be things like if people pay you, how does that work? If are you taking deposits? If they cancel their order, do they get their deposit back? Is there a warranty? Anything like that. You're going to fill all this information out. And then when you're done, again, you're going to view the embed code and then copy the embed code and put it into a separate page on your website. You can see here, I will add a new page and I'm going to call this one Terms of Service. And again, it's going to be an HTML block. I'm going to paste that in there and I'll preview this. And here are my terms of service. You can see it's all filled in, got all my sections, all my information. You can see it says unfilled because I didn't fill it in. So of course I would go back and fill this in correctly. This is just for demonstration purposes. So this is how you're going to create this, or this is one way that you can create those privacy policies and terms of service. Another option that you have if you're using WordPress, there are WordPress plugins out there that you can use that do something similar to Termageddon. My personal preference is Termageddon. I've used it for multiple websites and I like that it automatically updates and they keep on top of all of the privacy policy laws and everything else. Another option that I've seen out there, I don't know that I would recommend this, but again, check with an attorney for some legal advice on it. But there are Google Documents or Word documents that you can download that have sort of pre-written privacy policies that you can copy and paste into your website. But those generally aren't going to be as customized as they need to be. And they may not protect you as well as a policy like what you would get from an attorney or from a service like Termageddon. So just be cautious if you use something like that. I hope you found this very useful. Make sure you add that privacy policy and a terms of service to your website. You might also need a disclaimer for your website. I'm just going to throw that in there. So disclaimer, depending on what kind of things you're sharing on your website, if you're providing medical information or if you've got legal information, something that could be construed as legal information on your website, then you might want to have a disclaimer. There's lots of reasons for it, but if you go through and fill out all of the questions, if you answer all of the questions in there, you're going to be protected with that disclaimer. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.